Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Wes. I pray that this new year has been going great for you folks out there. 2024 is the year of the kaiju, so there is a lot to look forward to. You've got Kaiju number 8 Side B going, which is a side story about Soshiro Hoshina, and obviously we've got the anime pulling up fast in April. Matsumoto has been cooking. He wasn't slacking at all when he took that month-long break. We have finally reached the 100th chapter of Kaiju number 8. That is a big deal because so many manga get cancelled before they ever reach this point in Shonen Jump specifically. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this is the only work of Matsumoto's that has made it to chapter 100. So I hope he's over there celebrating, living it up. I absolutely love that Kaiju number 8 made it to this milestone. So about chapter 100 itself. I'm interested to see how the next 2 or 3 chapters play out, because now I don't know if Kafka is getting to Mina anytime soon. So we already know that Reno pulled up with the greatest of ease. We get a better look at those funnels he's packing. He's doing his best impression of the Sage class. Honestly, that's no joke exactly what he is. Reno is the Sage class from Final Fantasy XIV. Anytime I get to flex my love of Final Fantasy XIV, I will do it, guaranteed. Kafka is just so relieved to see Reno because he was about to be forced to leave all of those soldiers and civilians to potentially die until homie flash froze those kaiju. And that's not all who showed up to the party. You know, shonen manga always have those moments when the rest of the cast pops up in fashionably late fashion, just to show off their growth and how much the author had to power scale them to match the current threat. Well, this is one of those moments. I want to say this girl's name is Minase. She's supposed to be a field medic of some sort. I have no idea where the rest of her unit is while she's fighting alone, but I can take a good guess. They probably got clapped. Anyway, yeah, she gets saved by none other than Iharu, who tells her to close your mouth, and proceeds to use flash step techniques like he's straight out of Bleach, bringing her what I am going to guess is at least 20 blocks away from where he grabbed onto her shoulder. That is some ridiculous release force output for him. To be able to pull that off, that's insane. Last time we saw Iharu, he was struggling desperately to keep control over his output while wearing a power suit. He kept fluctuating between high and low levels of release force. So I'm thinking his and Reno's training with Captain Ogata must have yielded some results. He also seemed to be carrying some kind of mysterious giant-sized box on his back, which I do have a theory about that I'll discuss in a minute. Kikoru is still putting up her fight, and I've got no clue how she's even able to use Kaiju number 4. That thing should have overheated a long time ago. My girl has some serious plot protection going on. Case in point, 2 characters that we have gotten the least out of throughout this entire manga pull up just in time to save Kikoru from getting blasted. I'm talking about Haruichi Izumo and Aoi Kaguragi. I actually don't mind these 2, and I hope we get to see and learn more about them. These 2 have almost no character development. If I'm keeping it 100 with you guys, the most we know about them is that Aoi is a prodigy from another division of the Defense Force, and Haruichi is also a prodigy, and he comes from the wealthy Izumo family. The very same Izumo name that you see printed on all of the power suits in the JAKDF. His family is instrumental to the protection of Japan. And you know what? Literally every character in Division 3 was a prodigy of some sort, except poor Kafka. Division 3 was cracked in hindsight. So I see why Matsumoto separated them. Getting back to events at hand, Haruichi is shown to be using some kind of anti-kaiju recurve bow. And first thing I thought was, that thing looks freaking sick. I didn't think Matsumoto could impress me with new personal weapon choices, but he really has so far. Kikoru has the axe, her mother, Hikari, had what looked to be a halberd, and Iseo had his gauntlets. Narumi has a bayonet sword. Oshina just has swords. I'm over here thinking, okay, what else can he possibly give them? We've covered most of the base weapon archetypes by now. I didn't see bow weaponry coming because we already have guns on deck, but here we are. And I think it's a pretty awesome choice, and I can't wait to see what this thing can actually do, and I hope we do get to see that. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. It seems like all of the returning cast have each been given a personal weapon of their own. Kaguragi has the same giant container on his back as Iharu. I don't know if this is what Matsumoto is doing, but how sick would it be if these personal weapons are made from the remains of Kaijus 3, 5, and 7? I've been saying for a minute that this seems to be the direction that the story is headed in. I've always been adamant that Iharu, Haruichi, and Kaguragi would get the remaining numbers weapons the Defense Force had. We know they exist because they prepped them for battle before this arc began. Matsumoto has been giving out these numbers weapon suits like candy. Literally, you get a suit, you get a suit, you're gonna be made into a suit, you are the suit. And I will admit it would be a sudden change of direction if the rest of the numbers weapons have been crafted into personal weapon types instead of armor. Personally though, I like the suits, and I also like personal weapons too. The entire Shinomiya family had both, so we know it's possible. And I know some of you who reread this manga are possibly thinking, wasn't there like 2 other characters that were hinted alongside Reno to be critical to the Defense Force's victory? And yeah, you're right. There was one male and one female with glasses, but we have no idea who either of them are because they haven't shown up since then. They could also be inconsequential characters too. We have no real idea. Kafka putting his trust in Reno, telling him to handle things while he goes to save Mina is freaking cool. It's primarily important for Reno's character development because it shows how this kid has been trying to repay Kafka's kindness and self-sacrifice in chapter 1, literally since chapter 1. But at every turn since then, he needed to be saved by him, which in turn caused Kafka to put himself in progressively dangerous situations in order to save him and everyone else. Both Reno and Iharu have a bit of an inferiority complex, but in a different way. That's why I like the chapters when Matsumoto pairs them up together. Iharu is trying to achieve what Reno can do because he was used to being the top G, the one who always excelled, the one who always surpassed his limits and improved. But right now, in front of him is Reno, who outstrips even the progress of Iharu, and there's a very powerful lesson to be learned there. There's always going to be someone out there better than you. While Reno is trying to become as strong and heroic as Kafka, otherwise he feels useless. You can see clearly that Reno looks up to Kafka. Everybody praises Mina Ashiro for her accomplishments and strength, but for Reno, ever since that day in chapter 1 where Kafka saved his life, Kafka has become the ideal to strive for, the greatest Defense Force soldier there ever was. His inferiority complex stems from the fact that not once has he felt powerful enough to be useful to Kafka. We've seen this with Kaiju No. 6 and how it almost completely corrupted him and broke his mind until Iharu saved him. But Kafka, can you move faster, bro? Because Mina is going to die at this pace. For my closing thoughts on chapter 100, I wonder if Matsumoto is going to do the whole Dragon Ball Z sliding timescale thing that Toriyama was doing during the Planet Namek / Frieza arc. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. It took Goku lifetimes to make it to Planet Namek while he was training at 100 times gravity. Meanwhile, a bunch of battles were taking place planetside. It was taking Goku a whole training arc to make it there. Only to get there, mop the Ginyu Force, get crippled, have a mini recovery arc, and then fight Frieza. I'm not saying this is going to happen at all, but I'm wondering if Matsumoto is about to do something somewhat similar. Are we about to see Kafka rushing to save Mina at top speed for the next 3 months while we get a bunch of mini fights with Reno, Iharu, and friends? Or are they about to monster sweep faster than the master kaiju cleaner himself? Only time will tell on the next episode of Kaiju number 8. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, that wraps up all of my thoughts on the chapter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you like this kind of content, then click the thumbs up and consider subscribing. Also hit the bell to stay notified when I drop more content such as this. Alright, I'll catch you guys on the next video. God bless. Peace.